For more than half a century, Bill Gaither and his beloved wife have stood as pillars in the world of gospel music. Their songs have not only filled churches and concert halls, they've filled hearts. Their voices, their harmonies, and their unwavering commitment to faith, love, and each other became a guiding light for millions across the globe. Fans didn't just admire their music, they admired their marriage, their unity, and the strength they seemed to draw from both God and each other. They weren't just gospel legends, they were a living testimony of what it meant to walk by faith, even through life's deepest valleys. Together, Bill and his wife built a legacy that spanned generations. From humble beginnings, they rose to become symbols of spiritual devotion and artistic excellence. Through songs like "Because He Lives" and "He Touched Me," they offered hope to the broken, peace to the weary, and joy to those who had forgotten how to smile. They didn't just sing about Jesus, they lived it, day in and day out, side by side. But then, without warning, came a revelation that no one could have ever expected. It began quietly. A message. A post. A single update that carried the emotional weight of 1,000 songs. Bill Gaither's wife, his lifelong partner in ministry, in music, and in love, had made an announcement. One so deeply personal, so utterly raw, that it sent shockwaves through the gospel music community. What she shared wasn't a simple health update or a reflection on the past. It was something more. Something heavier. Something that instantly shifted the atmosphere around the beloved couple. Social media platforms lit up with concern. Fans from around the world flooded comment sections with prayers, questions, and words of love. But behind the heartfelt messages was one haunting question. What happened? Was it illness? Was it loss? Was it something that would change everything forever? For years, the Gaithers had chosen to keep their personal challenges private. And who could blame them? In a world where fame often demands transparency, they had drawn boundaries, protecting what mattered most: their family, their faith, their sacred bond. But this time, the silence couldn't hold. The burden was too great, the truth too powerful. And then, the moment came. With a trembling voice but a steady spirit, Bill Gaither's wife stepped forward. Whether it was through a video message, a carefully written letter, or a sit-down interview, her words were clear. They were honest. And they came from a place of deep, personal pain. She began slowly, pausing to collect herself between every word. "This is not easy for me to talk about," she said, her eyes heavy with emotion. "But I owe it to all of you, our friends, our family in faith, and every person who has supported us all these years." The world held its breath. She took a deep breath, as if gathering not only her thoughts but the strength of every moment she'd ever leaned on faith to carry her through. And then she spoke the truth. Was it a diagnosis? A recent tragedy? A long-hidden pain finally brought into the light? That part she kept between herself and God. But what she did share was enough to stir the soul. "I never imagined I'd have to say something like this," she continued. "But I believe in honesty. I believe in faith. And I believe in the power of prayer. And right now, we need your prayers more than ever." In that moment, time seemed to freeze. Across homes, churches, hospital rooms, and living rooms, people stopped and listened. They cried. They remembered the times the Gaithers had lifted them up through their own dark seasons. And now, it was their turn to return the love. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in by the thousands, from longtime fans, fellow musicians, pastors, friends, and even strangers who had been touched by a single lyric or a single performance. Social media became a global prayer chain. Churches added them to prayer lists. Entire communities united to send hope and strength to the couple who had once been the lifeline for so many others. But this wasn't just about the Gaithers' public legacy. This was about their private world. Their home. Their family. The news didn't just shake the hearts of fans. It shook the very foundation of the Gaither family. Bill, known for his endless optimism and his profound wisdom, was suddenly facing a trial that no song could ease. A personal storm that no stage could shield him from. Those who knew him best saw the quiet sorrow in his eyes. He was still strong. Still faithful. But he was changed. Behind closed doors, the family leaned on each other like never before. Their children came home. Friends gathered around. They prayed. They cried. They held on to hope. This wasn't just a difficult season. It was a defining one. And yet, through it all, Bill didn't fall into despair. He didn't retreat from the world. He didn't abandon his faith. Instead, he leaned in even harder. Faith, he told a close friend, isn't just for the good times. It's for the moments when you don't know what's coming next, but you trust that God does. That quiet resolve, that unshakable belief in something greater, that's what held him up. That's what gave him the courage to keep going. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the Gaithers began to adjust to their new reality. The stage they once ruled now sat in silence. But the spotlight had shifted, not to performances, but to perseverance. Some wondered if they would ever return to the stage. Others hoped this was just a pause. But the truth is, no one, not even Bill and his wife, knew what the future would hold. And maybe that was okay. Because for the first time in a long time, their story wasn't about concerts or albums or accolades. It was about love. The kind that stays when the music fades. The kind that weathers diagnosis, heartbreak, and uncertainty. The kind that reflects the very essence of every hymn they ever sang. And as they walked this difficult road, they were never truly alone. Because behind them stood a global family. People from every corner of the earth who had been touched by their ministry. People who knew that even the strongest need someone to lean on. So they leaned. And the Gaithers? They kept going. Step by step. Prayer by prayer. They didn't know what lay ahead. But they knew who held their future. And for those watching, it was a reminder, a powerful, gut-wrenching reminder, that faith is not the absence of suffering, but the strength to endure it. Whatever challenge Bill Gaither's wife revealed, one thing is clear: it changed everything. But it also revealed something even more powerful: that even in heartbreak, hope can rise. Even in silence, a song can still play. And even in the darkest nights, faith can light the way. This isn't the end of the Gaither story. It's a new chapter. One written not with melodies, but with moments of grace, courage, and unbreakable love. And as always, they're walking through it hand in hand. Together. Their music had been a source of light for millions, an anthem of faith, a comfort in times of sorrow, a celebration in moments of joy. Bill Gaither and his beloved wife had become more than just gospel icons. They were spiritual companions to those who needed hope. But now, the very people they had lifted with their voices were watching them walk through the storm of their lives. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media lit up like a candle in the darkness. Messages poured in from every corner of the globe. Words of love, prayers, memories. Hashtags like #PrayForTheGaithers and #FaithOverFear began trending, as thousands joined in a digital chorus of support. Some shared how the Gaithers' songs carried them through heartbreak, through cancer battles, through the loss of a loved one, through sleepless nights and silent prayers. Others posted simple messages. You are not alone. Churches across the country dedicated services in their honor. Candles were lit. Songs were sung. Gospel artists, from the legendary to the newly rising, paused to pay tribute. One well-known singer posted an emotional video. I can't tell you what Bill and his wife have meant to my life, to my ministry. They've given us so much, through their music, their message, their faith. Now it's our turn to lift them up. Even outside the gospel world, the story struck a chord. News outlets began to cover the outpouring of love. Headlines spoke not just of the Gaithers' personal trial, but of the global community that had risen around them, proof that their legacy was far greater than any stage they ever stood on. But amid the love and hope, there was also sorrow. Longtime fans were shaken. For some, it felt like losing family. Bill and his wife have been part of my life for decades, one supporter wrote. Their music played at my wedding and at my mother's funeral. I can't believe this is happening. Still, despite the heartbreak, one thing remained stronger than ever: faith. God is with them, a fan posted beneath a video montage of Gaither performances. Just like their music has reminded us for years, He never leaves us. Not even in our darkest hour. And as the days passed, the love didn't fade. Cards, letters, and gifts flowed in. At Gaither concerts, audiences prayed together before the music began. Radio stations played their classics nonstop, songs that had once brought comfort, now being returned to the couple who wrote them. And through it all, Bill and his wife felt it. The love, the prayers, the unity. They were walking a difficult path, yes, but they were not walking it alone. Their community, their fans, their faith would be their guiding light. No matter what came next, their legacy had already been written in the hearts of those they touched. In the days after the heartbreaking news, Bill Gaither and his wife found themselves at a crossroads. Their entire lives had been about sharing God's love through music. Songs of perseverance, of triumph, of unwavering belief. But now, the trial was personal. What would come next? For Bill, stepping away from music was unthinkable. Music had always been his sanctuary, his way of processing pain, of reaching people, of healing not only others, but himself. But the weight of the moment pressed on him. Would they continue performing? Or step away, if only for a time, to regroup, to rest, to heal? It was not a decision to be made lightly. Then, finally, Bill addressed what everyone had been waiting to hear. In a heartfelt message posted online, his voice trembling but full of peace, he wrote, "We've spent our lives singing about faith, love, and the strength God gives us during hard times. Now, we find ourselves needing that same strength more than ever. We don't know what the future holds, but we do know this: we are not alone. Your prayers, your love, and your unwavering support have been more comforting than words could ever express." He went on to explain that, for now, they would be stepping back. No final curtain call. No dramatic farewell. Just a quiet, faith-filled pause. A time to focus on family, on health, on God. And the world understood. Fans responded with grace. No one wanted them to leave the spotlight, but everyone knew, even the strongest warriors need rest. Messages of encouragement poured in. "You've given us so much. Let us carry you now." Even in their absence, their music didn't fade, it flourished. Songs like "Because He Lives" and "He Touched Me" took on new meaning. Churches sang them with fresh reverence. Fans listened with tear-filled eyes, realizing how deeply the lyrics now echoed the Gaither's own journey. "I never really understood, because He lives until now," one person wrote. "Now I sing it with them in mind, with their strength in mind." And what of the future? That chapter remains unwritten. Maybe someday, Bill and his wife will return to the stage, stronger, renewed, inspired by their trials. Or maybe their mission will evolve. Less about performances, and more about testimony. About helping others walk through hardship with the same grace they've shown. Whatever the path, one thing is undeniable. Their legacy is not defined by awards, albums, or applause. It is defined by the lives they've touched, the faith they've inspired, and the love they've given. Freely, endlessly, unconditionally. As they step into this uncertain season, one truth rings louder than ever. They are not alone. And neither are we. Their music remains. Their message remains. And their light still shines.